Okay, how many people have you got? Okay, how many people have we got?
It's about 6, I think.
6. Ah, well, as long as we have 6 high-quality people.
No, 7.
That's all that matters. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to look at it like this. Isn't this right? Just give you a bit more space. Okay, so last week we spoke about cubes in Gaminish positions. And this week I want to look at a few different aspects of the cubing, mainly in races, but there are a few unusual things happen towards the end of matches, particularly in Crawford games. So I want to talk about those. I've sort of set it out in such a way that, I mean, there's a lot, I'm going to talk about a lot this evening, but I tried to prioritize it in terms of simplicity and importance and impact. So, like, I spent a lot of time when I was studying backgammon first, studying obscure things like the way the cube turns, the cube changes quite dramatically in a last row situation where your opponent doesn't have an opportunity to re-cube. And they were very technical and they were very difficult. And then you might never see the position again for 3 months. And by that stage, you've completely and utterly forgotten. So I'm hoping that the very first point I'm talking about, you know, of the 5 points I talk about here, I'd hope that within the next 10 to 20 matches, you're going to come across these points. And if you don't already know them, you'll have learned something. So we're going to talk about the free drop, the free take, match score 2-away, 2-away, checker play at Crawford, primarily take points in races, and then a little bit about doubling in races. So just to assess, does everybody know, or does anybody not know what a free drop is?
Sorry, I don't.
Somebody doesn't. Does somebody say they don't know what a free drop is?
I don't. Sorry, Ren.
You don't? No, that's good. That's good. How about the free take? If you don't know what a free drop is, you don't know what a free take is.
No.
No. Do people know the unusual cube implications of 2-away, 2-away?
Yeah.
Does anyone not know it?
I don't, but I'll tag along.
Yeah, that's grand. Okay, so I gather that nobody bothers reading the homework that I sent out in advance. So
I've done my homework.
Yeah, I listened. I did it.
I did the homework as well, Brendan.
Oh, who's that? Cracker. No.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Hello, Alan. Hello, Alan.
Hello, Cracker.
And hello, Jonathan.
Hello there.
Okay. So
And hello, everybody.
So, Cracker, you're going to waste a bit of time having done your homework here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just, like last week, I went through things a bit too quickly, I think. So I'm going to set up a few questions and I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to a minute. So let's look at this position. What's happened here is you're leading 4-3 post Crawford. Your opponent rolled a 5 and a 1. They played 13-8. And then they split the back checker. You rolled a 2 and a 1. And your opponent automatically doubles. It's post Crawford. You're leading 4-3. They automatically double you. So can you just think about that for a few seconds? I mean, I don't know, you'd probably spend 10 or 20 seconds across the board, or maybe you just automatically drop it or automatically take it. Just think for a minute, what would you do with that? Okay, so do we have anybody who would drop that?
Drop.
Do we have anybody who would take it?
I'd probably take it.
I would drop it, definitely.
Probably drop it. Probably.
Okay. Who's the
Tricky.
strongest advocate of taking?
Probably me.
Is that Alan? Sorry, I can't make
Oh,
out.
Peter.
Sorry,
Peter.
Peter. Okay. So you'd take this.
Probably, yeah.
Who do you think is going to win this game? Who's favourite to win this game?
Well, black would be marginally favourite because of the pip count.
Okay. Okay. So black is favourite. Would you like to put a figure on that? You know,
No,
51%?
Say probably 54, 46.
Okay. So black will win 54% of these games. Therefore, black is going to win 54% of the matches. Will win the match 54% of the time.
Yeah.
You're happy with that?
Yeah.
What happens if you drop?
Nothing.
The score will be
50-50.
50-50.
and your chance of winning the match.
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah.
So do you see here that you've got a free drop?
Yeah.
If your opponent has an advantage in the opening roll, you have a free drop and you should drop.
What is the position on that?
What is the percentage?
Yeah.
Well, now that's a good question, but we don't need to know. I think we know here that black is the favorite. If it's a 50.1%,
Yeah. Fair enough.
then you should drop it, right? But your estimate was actually very good. It's 54%. Is that what you said?
I said 54, 46. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were spot on. You were spot on. Okay. So that's really what most of what I'm going to talk about this evening is about. It's your chances of winning the match versus your chance of winning the game. So by dropping, you increase your chance of winning the match from 46% to 50%. And this is known as the free drop. That's fairly straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now you're leading 4-2 post Crawford. Black doubles automatically. Should you take? The last one was 4-3. This is 4-2.
Yeah. Take.
I'm going to give you guys, I'm giving you about 30 seconds to think about that. Okay. Is anybody dropping that?
No.
I think that's a take.
Okay. So would somebody like to explain why that's a take?
Well, it's a free take because it makes no difference if he wins 1 point or 2 points.
Right.
He'll still be one win away as long as it isn't a gammonous position. It's a free take.
Yeah. So
There's no risk of him running a 4-1 and setting up a gammon there, is there?
there are some gammon risks, but let's say you drop this. Your chances of winning this match, if you drop, are 50%. Okay, because the score will be 4-3. He'll double you immediately, and whether you take or drop it, the score is going to. So there's only one more game left if you drop this. So if you drop, your chances of winning are 50%. If you take this, you've got two ways of winning. You can win this game, or if you lose, you can lose this game as long as you don't lose a gammon and win the next game, or just win this game. So this is a huge take. So at 4-2 post Crawford, you have a free take. If you take, black must win 2 games in a row or a gammon in this game to win the match. Okay. Here's another example of a free take. Black forgot to W automatically. Okay. Can everybody see that this is a huge take for white?
Yeah.
Okay, you're only expecting to win 7% of these games, but it's a very easy take. Here you're going to win 7% of you're going to lose 93% of these games, and then you're going to be 50-50. Okay. Right. Next quiz question. Sean Casey, you're leading 4-2 against Sean Casey post Crawford, and he doesn't automatically double you. Is it A, he has forgotten, B, he is being generous to you, or C, he is up to something?
He's trying to wreck your PR by giving you a tough decision.
Definitely C.
Packer, why? What is he up to?
He's trying to get you to drop.
What he's trying to do is get you into a position where you mistakenly drop.
Correct.
You have a free take.
Well done. Oh, sorry. That's exactly what he's doing. He is going to maybe have a small bit of a gammonish threat and a decent lead, and he's clearly the favorite in the game. You still have a huge take, but you drop it. And that works quite a bit. You've got to be a bit, well, I'm suggesting to most of you, you should be just look out for that. If there's a delay and then your opponent doubles you, you take it anyway at this match score. Okay. Right, guys. Match score 3-5. Your opponent rolled 2 and a 1 to start. You're on roll. Should you double? Take 30 seconds. Okay. Anybody doubling and anyone not doubling?
Doubling.
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 I wouldn't double, actually.
Who's not doubling? Rich?
Yeah.
Okay. Why not?
Well, I know 2-1's a very bad opening roll, but I think I would just be wary of the threat of him making the 5 point. If I don't hit it, I would just wait a roll and see.
Okay, what's going to happen if he makes the 5 point?
Well, he's going to double anyway. So, I mean, in these games, it doesn't actually matter because someone's going to double at some point.
Correct. So the right strategy at 3-all is when you're playing a strong player and you both need 2 points to win, you double at the first opportunity. In other words, if your opponent wins the opening roll, you double. If you win the opening roll and your opponent doesn't double and rolls, then you double them. The only real exception to that is if you're a very strong player and your opponent doesn't know this rule. This is quite a difficult thing to explain. So what I'm going to suggest you to do is to Google 2-away backgammon, and you'll find some mathematical explanations of this and logical explanations. But it's a very good point to learn, especially if you're playing a strong player. You know, they will take advantage of it. So you make sure that at 2-away, so 9-all to 11, 11-all to 13, first opportunity, double. You can't lose by doubling, and you can lose by not doubling. That's probably the simplest way of explaining that. Okay. Checker play at Crawford. This is the only checker play position, with this one and the next one. You're leading 4-3 Crawford. How do you play 6-5? You have a choice. You can run to 13, or you can leave the checker there. You can stay back and do something at the other side of the board. So I want you to think about that for 30 seconds. Okay, so we're going to break it up into two groups. There's a group that'll run and there's a group that'll stay back. Who wants to stay back?
Staying back.
I'm staying back.
Cracker staying back, and somebody else. Is it Jonathan?
Jonathan.
Cracker and Jonathan staying back. Does that mean the rest of you are running to safety?
Run.
Running, yeah. Running.
I would run, yeah.
Okay.
Run.
Would any of you like to explain your reasoning? Cracker, maybe?
Me,
But yeah, or Jonathan? Anybody?
I'm a huge favorite to lose the race. So my only chance of winning is to get a hit. So I have to stay back. I'm just going to move 2 pieces from number 13.
Okay.
I agree.
And what about the gammon chances?
They're
They're very low.
He has a ton of rolls that make the sound.
Who said they're irrelevant?
No, I didn't say they're relevant. I said they're low.
Cracker, did you say they're irrelevant?
No. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the score there. 3-5. Oh, this is Crawford.
Correct.
Gammons are irrelevant because if I lose the game, it doesn't matter if I lose a single game or a gammon. I've lost.
Yes, it
No,
does.
You're winning
Cracker,
4-3.
You're winning
looking-
4-3.
You're on the right track, Cracker, but you're on the wrong train.
Sorry, what color? I'm white.
I'm mixing my metaphors here. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
the gammon chances are not huge. So I have to stay back. I want to try and win this game.
Okay. The gammon chances are very significant here.
Mm.
If you're black, you're going all out. You want a gammon here. You're going all out to get a gammon. And you're going to get a gammon about 30% of the time. I mean, look what happens, Cracker, all the moves that make the 18 point. Right, there's a whole pile of moves that make a 6 point prime. And then there's plenty of moves that hit the checker on the ace point. 3 and 6, that's a 9, a 10, or a 12. So there's a very high level of gammons. The level of gammons is so high here that the correct play is to run to safety.
And what?
Okay. So if you run to safety, you're only going to win 9% of the games, which was the point that the Cracker made.
Mm.
But if you stay back, I said 30%. You're going to be gammoned. Yeah, you're going to be gammoned 30% of the time, 25 or 30% of the time. Here's 8272 is the least gammonish play. The play I would have made 13-8-37, you'd be gammoned 30% of the time. So this is a huge run to safety. Okay. Cracker, are you disagreeing with XG or are you happy with that?
I couldn't disagree with HG. That's why I lose so many matches in backgammon, I think.
Okay.
I make bad decisions.
Brendan, at this score,
Yeah.
I think you have to have in your mind that you're playing gammon save and your opponent's gammon go. So you want another game. You don't want to risk losing everything on one game. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. And by the way, staying back only increases your chances of winning the game from 9% to about 20% or 16%, depending on which play you make. So, as Kevin said, that's a terminology I've only come across recently. Gammon save or gammon go. Gammon save meaning you're setting out to save the gammon, and that's what you should do here. So, same position.
You're not playing for a gammon, Brendan. That's the key, isn't it? You're not playing.
You're playing to save and not be gammoned.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's gammon save, I presume. Black is playing gammon go.
Yes.
Okay. Same match score. Sorry, same position, different match score. You're leading now 4-2 Crawford. Does it make any difference to your play? Again, take 20 seconds on that. Jonathan, you can take 30 seconds. As you got the last one wrong, Jonathan, you need a bit more time.
Fair enough.
Okay. Anybody changing their position for this?
Yeah, I'm going to stay back.
Okay. Rich is staying back. Anybody playing safely?
No.
I think you stay back here.
Okay. Does anybody want to run 24-13? No.
No. No.
Okay, so you understand the point. Here, it doesn't matter if you get gammoned. If you get gammoned, the score is going to be 4-4. Sorry, it's now 4-2. You're now leading 4-2, yeah. The score is 4-2. If you get gammoned, it's going to be 4-4 post Crawford. 4-4 and 4-3 post Crawford is the same. It's the same effect, same match winning chances. So by staying back, you win more games, and that's the only consideration here. So do we have to figures? Yeah, figures change a little bit here in terms of percentages. You don't win as many games as in the last one because I think you're playing it differently. If with 13-8, 13-7, if I remember correctly. Okay, so that's that. So the main point now is take points in races. Contact is broken. There are no gammons for either side. Last week, we spoke about gammonish positions, and it's very, very different. Races and gammonish positions are very, very different. So this is the first point. This is the very first position. It's 0-all in a match to 11. You're 12 pips. Your opponent has 100 pips. You're 112. Black doubles. Do you take or drop? Take 15 seconds on that.
This was one of our test questions.
That's right. And what did XG tell you, Cracker?
I didn't do XG, but I had only one drop. The rest were all takes.
Okay.
So
Oh,
this
I had
was a
many
take.
more drops.
Cracker, stop jumping the gun. Okay, so any takers on this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any
Just not a
drop?
take.
Any droppers? Okay,
Not at
so
this
you all
stage.
understand that 12 pips is the take point here. So 12%. If you're behind 12% in the race and you're doubled at a score of 0-all, you can take. Okay, if it were 13 pips that you were behind, it would be a drop. So just to show you the actual numbers, you need about 22%. You need to win 22% of games to justify a take. So 13 pips would be a small drop. Okay, so I think then we have, does anything change if you have a big lead or a big deficit in the match?
Definitely.
Now, I am seeing on the right-hand side, my screen is being hidden by these lads. Can I get rid of these? Yeah, I've got rid of them. Okay, now, I hope you're not all gone. I just can't see you.
Yeah.
Take a minute on this one because there's two different scores.
I thought these were both big answers.
Big
Is
what?
that Jonathan?
Yeah, that's Jonathan.
Okay, go ahead, Jonathan. Tell us what you think.
I think that if you're leading 9-0,
Yep.
it's a big drop. Sure. Just
Okay.
play on because why bother? But if you're trading 0-9, it's a big take.
Okay. Jonathan, it's great to have you giving the answers that I'm expecting so that people can learn from the right answers.
Good.
Does anyone disagree with Jonathan?
I disagree. I would take both. And I'll tell you why I take 9-0 to 11. I only need 2 points. This is an opportunity to win the 2 points.
Okay.
I'm only 12 pips down. It's a great opportunity to win.
Okay.
And if the other guy gets to 9-2 instead of getting to 9-1, that doesn't hurt us an awful lot.
Yeah, but then he's got. Yeah.
And there's no gammons.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, certainly this is a point that I haven't really appreciated until recently. And that is, you know, at big lopsided match scores like this, where there are no gammons, your taking doesn't change.
At
Both
all.
of these are takes.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. So leading 9-0 to 11 and trailing 0-9 to 11, both takes.
Yes, it's marginal though. 9-0 up, leading 9-0. Sort of not a big error to drop it.
It's not a big error to drop it, but nor was it a big error. It's the same as 0-0. It's the same. Very, very small take. It is a take though.
The problem with taking it, I mean, it is still a take, but the problem with taking it 9-0 up is that you're giving away all the power of the cube because you have no recube if you get ahead in the race. So you're losing that equity of the recube, which is annoying, which is probably why it's a smaller take.
No, it's exactly the same take as
No,
it's
what I mean,
exactly-
it's
exactly
smaller
the same as-
than 11. Oh, it's the same as 0-0, is it?
the same as 0-0. And it's an easier take at 0-9, but I mean, it's not that big a difference.
That's strange because I thought because of the recube ability that would be worth something.
No, as Cracker pointed out, the efficiency of getting from 9 to 11 is really important. But in fact, let's have a look and see what's the next one. Here's another example of it. Okay. Again, you're leading 8-1 or you're trailing 1-8 to 11. It's a very easy take. Sorry, it's a marginal take leading 8-1, but it's a take. On the right-hand side, when you're trailing 1-8 to 11, it's a much, much bigger take. It would be, I mean, you'd sort of know that. Like, I think you know, we learned it on Mother's Knee playing backgammon. When you're way ahead, you should be very conservative. And when you're way behind, you should be much more aggressive. But in fact, in as regards taking the initial cube, the correct thing to do is leading 8-1, leading 9-0, leading 9-1. It's still a big take. It's still a take. And I think we all make mistakes. I made one this day last week. Having written this, I made a mistake because it was a holding game, which means that there were really very, very few gammons. I dropped it and it was a huge take. I thought, well, he might get a gammon here if I'm unlucky. You know, it's only about 2% gammons in it. So it was effectively a race, and I didn't see it as a race. And I'd written this the previous day, you know, which is annoying me. Okay. So you won't go far wrong if you take it normal at lopsided scores. Most people, like Jonathan, drop too easily when they're in the lead and take too easily when they are trailing, and this is wrong. Okay. This isn't a quiz. I'm just telling you this. When your opponent needs 5 points, you can be much more inclined to take this double. No exceptions to this rule. It doesn't matter if you're leading or behind in the match. Okay. So if you just look on the left-hand side, these are all the same positions, by the way, 100 and 112 pips, right? You're trailing 0-6 to 11. You have an easier take than normal because he needs 5 points. And I think most people will find on the right-hand side, it's quite astonishing. You have a far easier take Anybody like to estimate how many pips? Normally, you can take up to 12 pips behind. Leading 9-6, how many pips would you take? Would you need to? Could you go as far as before you drop?
14 or 15.
I think you're spot on.
16.
16 pips. I mean, you're leading 9-6, and you can still take this with a 16% instead of 12%. I actually say I had to double check these figures. I hadn't realized this. I mean, I sort of knew in my head that, you know, this was a peculiar match score, 2 away, 5 away, but I hadn't realized that it was this different.
It really is counterintuitive. You really feel like, or I really feel like, I'm way ahead. I want to minimize the volatility here. So I would have thought that it would be less inclined to take.
Absolutely. I think a year ago, I think I'd have dropped this like a hot one. And on the left-hand side, you need 14 pips. That's where you're trailing 0.6. So you can go as far as 14 pips. So rule 3, I mean, it's a bit hard to remember these rules, but when your opponent needs 5 points, you can be much more inclined to take his double. Okay. And this, I think, is the difficult one. I'm giving you 2 minutes for this. Black is leading in all of these. Black has 3 in all of these positions. The score is 3-all to 5. Is it a take? You're trailing 2-3 to 5. Is it a take? You're trailing 1-3 to 5. Is it a take? You're trailing 0-3. You know you've 22% chances of winning this game. Take a couple of minutes on this, guys. Have you all decided?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start with 3-all to 5. What's the verdict?
Take.
or draw?
I think it's a drop.
I think it's a drop.
Okay.
Is this a Sean Casey? He forgot to double me earlier. He should have. And now he's giving me an impossible decision because it looks like a drop to me. But going off what you said earlier, I'm now wondering.
And why would this be a drop? The Sean Casey thing was at Crawford. This isn't Crawford. This is 3-all.
Because if you drop this, you have 25% chance of winning the match because you have 2 games, whereas you only have 22% if you play.
Again, absolutely on the right track, but the wrong train. We just go through that. Okay. If you take, you're going to win this game and the match 22% of the time. We're all happy with that?
Mm-hmm.
If you drop, the score is going to be 3-4 Crawford. And at 3-4 Crawford, you can win this match 2 ways. You can win the next 2 games, or you can win a gammon in the first game. And that works out at 32%. So if you drop, you're going to win this match 32% of the time. Is everybody comfortable with that? Is anyone surprised at that? Or
I'm surprised it's as low as 106. 6%.
Yeah. Well, you need you need if you drop, you have a 32% chance
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
winning
no,
this
no, I
match.
get that.
So
Yeah.
if you take, you must have a 32% chance of winning
Yeah.
the game. And you know, with a you've a 22% chance with a 12 pip deficit, and you need to have a much narrower deficit to get up to 32%. That's a really key point. Now, that's not going to happen very often between two strong players, because you should have doubled at the first time, but it does illustrate the looking at the difference between the chances of winning the game and the chances of winning the match. Okay. Sorry, guys. 2-3. You're trading 2-3 to 5. Had we takers or droppers at this?
And a drop that's really similar to the other one.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Come on, Jonathan. Great.
If you drop, it goes to Crawford, and then you've no cube in the next game. So you're really struggling.
Can you put a bit of maths on that? Really struggling?
You have 32%.
Well, you're going to need to win 2 games this time, barring a backgammon.
Correct.
So it is 25% rather than the 32%.
It's exactly 25%. Okay. We know that you've 22% in this game. So by dropping, you're increasing your chances of winning to exactly 25%.
Right. So it's a drop again.
This is another drop. Yeah. It's not as big a drop.
I thought Cracker said they were all takes.
I forgot.
Sorry, who's giving this version? That's why Cracker does not give it. Were you taking all these, Cracker? I'd forgotten that.
No.
Play back the tape. Play back the tape.
Okay. In this situation, you can take with up to 10%. If you were 111, you should drop this. Okay. So whereas you take with 112 normally, at this one you'll drop at 111. Okay. Can we apply the same reasoning to 1-3 to 5? Think about that for well, you've been thinking about that. Any takers, any droppers? Cracker, is this one of your drops? I know you were taking them. Were you taking them all or dropping them all, Cracker?
No. I'd only 5 decisions to make, but you've increased the huge number of decisions here. Like I've 4 decisions on this board alone.
Okay.
At number 3, trailing 1-3 to 5. If I'm doubled, I think it'd be a mistake for back to double me. I'd take and redouble him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, same here.
Does that sound unanimous, or is anyone dropping this?
I agree. The value of the redouble is so good that it just changes things, I think.
That sounds like Jamie. Has Jamie joined us?
I have, sneakily.
Oh, great, Jamie. Good. Bring a bit of sense into it. Yeah. We go through this exact same reasoning, right? If you take your recube immediately for the match, you'll win this game in the match 22% of the time. If you drop the score, we 1-4 Crawford. And at 1-4 Crawford, you're going to have to win the next 3 games, or just 2 of them if it's a gammon. And that works out at 18%. So in this situation, you can stretch out the pips to 15%. Are people happy with that? Can they see the reasoning behind that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can anyone apply the same reasoning to 0, 3 to 5? Are we taking this or are we dropping this?
Taken.
Take.
I think it's a take, yeah.
Anybody dropping it?
The only difference here is that the redouble won't win you the match. But it's probably your only hope of getting there without too much pain.
Okay. You're getting very close, Jamie. Except I just don't like the word only. The only difference. It's a fucking huge difference. It's a massive difference. Like here's again, again, this is a bit counterintuitive. You're in number 4 there, you're further behind than in 3. In 3, you're only 2 pips behind your opponent. Here you're 3 pips behind. So it looks like a take, but in fact it's a drop. Okay, so if you drop, you're going to be 0-4 to Crawford. And that has a higher combined chance of, winning the game and winning the Crawford match. Because it's 22% to win the game. And so you're leading 4-3. So that would be 60%. So you have about 12 or 13% chances of winning the match if you take. 0-4 Crawford is, I think, about 60%. And do you remember we said earlier on about when your opponent needs 5 points, you can take more easily? In this situation, you need 5 points, so you should drop this a bit more quickly than you would at 0-all. So this is quite interesting, and I think I've got those, yeah. I put those together because it's not what you would expect. At 1-3, you can go up to 15 points to take, 15% that is, and at 0-3, it's lower than at 0-all. Okay. Doubling in races. Okay. Rule A. I think most of you know this. In this situation, your opponent is on roll. He has 100, you have 108. The difference is 8 points. He has just got a bare double. Can you see that there on the right-hand side? It would be a tiny mistake from here not to double. Okay, so you need 8% to double, and you can take with up to 12% deficit. Okay, does everybody know that already? I mean, I didn't bother setting that up as a quiz. I presumed. Did anyone not know that you need 8% to double? Good. If you're ahead in the match by 8 points or more, you should be more conservative in your doubling. Okay, I told you when you were behind or ahead in the match score, your taking should be normal. But here, it's different. You do need a better, if you're thinking of doubling. So in this situation, black is thinking of doubling. At 0-all, they need 8%. It goes up to 12% if they're leading 8-0. So they need a 12-point lead. I think that's what you would have been expecting. Anybody surprised at that, or is everyone happy with that?
I wouldn't say I'm surprised, Brendan, but I think it's a stark contrast to the first problem that you put up, where it was you were leading 9-0 to 11. It was very early in the game, and you were losing 9-0 to 11. And you said that the double take was the same.
Correct. No. The take was the same.
Sorry, the take was the same.
Yeah.
Whereas here,
this is the double.
mm,
Okay. Black needs to be more conservative in their doubling. Okay. And the reason for that is that if black doubles here with only an 8-point lead, white's going to take the cube and recube. So black just needs to be further closer to winning. Okay. Doubling with only a few points to go. 3-all to 5, you should have all doubled on the opening roll. So double whenever you remember. If you wait, it might be too late. Leading 3-2, double is normal, a pip lead of 8 or more. Okay. If you're leading 3-1 to 5, okay, we saw earlier that your opponent can take with a deficit of 15. So an 8 pip lead is just way too early to double. So wait until you have about a 14-point lead. Do you all see that that's the reverse of the having such a low take point when you're trailing 1-3 to 5?
Yes.
Okay. So, sorry, I didn't realize I made that slide. So this is very, very narrow. You're leading 3-1 to 5 with a 13-point lead. It's not a double. With a 14-point lead, it's a double take. And with a 15-point lead, it's a small pass.
Jesus.
So it's really, really narrow. That's called the doubling window, from the point at which you double to the point at which your opponent passes. And in this case, it's really narrow, just 2 points. Okay. But what you need to remember, you don't need to remember that in such detail. What you need to remember is the normal 8% lead. Yeah, I mean, you'd know that, I think, intuitively. If you're leading 3-1 to 5, you'd know, God, if I give him the cube, he's going to fire it back at me. Okay.
Good to be able to put numbers on it, though.
Sorry?
It's useful to be able to put numbers on that intuition.
Absolutely. And I think what I've learned from preparing this is check my intuition, because it's often wrong.
Brendan, should you ever double if it's 3-away, 3-away?
Oh, 3-away, 3-away. Sorry, 3-away, 3-away. I was thinking from 2-away. Absolutely. Yeah. I think your cubing is fairly normal in a racing position. Okay, just sort of summarize. Rule A, at 0-all in an 11-point match, you need a pip count of 8% to double. At 0-all in an 11-point match, you can take with a pip count of 12%. So that's the sort of doubling window, 8% to 12%. When either player has a big lead in the match, the take decisions are pretty much the same as they are at 0-all. When your opponent needs 5 points, you can be much more inclined to take. At 1-3, you need to win the game only 18% of the time to take and recube. If you're leading 3-1 to 5, wait a bit longer. That should really be a good bit longer. At 0-3 to 5, you need to win at least 24% of the time to take, as you don't win the match with a recube. And rule B, if you're ahead in the match by 8 points or more, you should be more conservative in your doubling. Any questions, comments, corrections?
I have a comment.
Yes, Cracker.
Am I allowed to share some advice Brendan gave me about maybe 30, 40 years ago.
You are, of course.
He pointed out to me, I used to be always concentrating on my checker play. I'd throw a 3-1 and I'd be looking for the best move or a 6-5. Brendan said to me, forget about the checker play. The first thing you should think about every time you're in roll is whether to double or not. And I find that very useful. Sean Casey always tells me I'm a move too late in doubling. My main problem, the reason my PRs are so high, is my doubling is not good.
Well, I think, Cracker, I analysed a few of your matches with XG, and there are only 2 areas that you need to work.
The cube and checker play.
If you get them right, you'd be a much improved player.
Yeah.
Okay, as we've got 3 minutes left, we have a bonus question for you. Right? So you're leading 2-1 to 5. You have a 9-point lead into pips. I didn't insult you by asking you this as a question. This is a very easy double, very easy take. Yeah, would you all be happy with that? So, very easy double, very easy take. If you were listening at all, you'd know that was a double and a take. And I always think this is unusual. Like, you're just 2-1. There's only a 1-point difference in this, so it's not very different from 0-0 or anything like that. So you take another few rolls and you reach this position. Your opponent has caught up. The pip count is level. You're still leading 2-1 to 5, and they now recube you. Any takers, any droppers?
The match is now, if you take the cube, the match is on it.
Okay, take a minute on this, lads. We've got 1 minute until 9 o'clock.
I'm taking.
That's Jamie. Was it?
That's Kevin, but Jamie is also taking.
Okay. Let's start a show at
Confident.
Confident.
I'm not confident at all about that.
Okay. Anybody dropping?
I think I'm going to drop it.
I'm going to drop it.
I don't want the match to be on this, so I'm going to drop it.
Okay. Could one of you put a bit of maths on that?
I could take Joe here, a very rough guess that where we're equal in the pip count, that he's about a 60% chance of winning. And if we accept a recube, then we have a 40% chance of winning the match. Whereas if we drop here, the score goes to 3-2, and I don't know what the numbers are there. Do we have better than a 40% chance of winning the match when we trail 3-2?
I think if I'm playing a very strong player,
Hold on a second, Cracker. Joe, that's the absolute right reasoning and logic. Yeah, you have it spot on. Yeah, you don't know the numbers, but I think the thing that you need to be aware of is that is the calculation that Joe was doing there is the right calculation in this situation. So the first thing is, let's drop this. If we drop it, what's the match score?
3-2.
2-3.
2-3.
2-3 to 5. Does anybody know what my match winning chances are at 2-3 to 5? Or can you estimate them?
25%.
What did you say, Jamie?
25%.
Much more than that.
About 45,
Mhm.
40, 40 to 45.
40 to 45, 25.
60, 40,
I'd say 35 to 40.
Okay.
40
Yeah.
to 60,
40 to 60.
something like that. 2 away, 3 away, is it something?
I
Something like that.
My simple approach to these, because I can't remember all the numbers, is I take for the first point, if I'm a pip behind in a shortish match like this, I knock 10% off. So, and it does apply at this match score. So if I drop this, I'm going to be trading 2, 3 to 5. My match winning chances will be 40%. Okay. Now, the next question I've got to work out is, what are my chances of winning this game?
It feels to me about 40% as well. I've probably got it wrong. But
Okay, I
I'd
think
say
this
higher.
position was put up by Sean in his first talk as one of the positions that you should know. I certainly didn't know it until Sean put it up.
Yeah, normally this is a double take at 0-0, say. But at this score,
This is a huge take.
Oh, yeah,
cube.
At 0-0, this is
Yeah.
a huge take.
So it's all about the cube, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the match.
Sean said in a standard position like this, where the pip count is equal, your chances of winning, the person who is behind, the person who's not on roll, has a 37% chance of winning. So
it's a pass.
if you take, here's the questions I was going to ask you. If you take how often you think you'll win this game, the score will be 2, 3 to 5. What are your chances of winning the match at this score? And if you take, it's 38%. I said 37. And so this is a big drop.
Endon.
Yeah.
Crackett raised a question just there. He was trying to get in there about the strength of your opponent. If I was playing you, I think I'd take it this because our respective PRs are vastly different. If you're playing a much stronger opponent, are you more likely to take it this? Take a chance that you will get the luck here?
What do you think, Cracker?
If I was playing a very strong player, I would take that. If I'm playing a very weak player, I'd probably drop it.
Yeah, but that doesn't really work at this score because after this, you're 2-3 down. And someone being better than you over such a short score doesn't really matter very much. It would be a very small difference. It would be different if you had 13 points to go, but with just 2 and 3 points to go, it wouldn't really matter.
Okay, let me just come back to that in a second. Does everybody understand that if you're playing a player of equal strategy, equal competence here, that this is a drop?
Yes.
I find this myself to be astonishing, and I discovered this from a huge blunder only a few months ago on XG. I said, how could that be a drop? It wasn't this exact position, but it was a position, in fact, where I only had about a 30% chance of winning the game. And I thought, this is easy, a very easy take, much more than the 22% or 25% you need. Didn't do the calculations. And then when I did, I discovered I needed 38%. You need to win. You need to win 40% of the time.
So, Brendan, if black wasn't 4 away, if black was 5 away or some other number, which wasn't that perfect fit of the 4, would it be a take then?
Well, the only thing you're looking at here is what will the score be if you drop? And if you drop, the score will be 2, 3 to 5. What is the match equity at 2, 3 to 5? That's 40%. If it's a different match score and it's going to be 1, 3 to 5, at 1, 3 to 5, I think you're 32%. So let's say,
like my thinking on this is, by taking the 4 cube, you'd be doing black a huge favor, because if he wins the match. Am I right in thinking in that way?
You're right, but you need to get away from the narrative and express it mathematically. Right? You need to actually have an idea of the different things. I don't expect, and I won't remember this 38%, and I'd probably forget the 40%. All I know is that a recube at this match score, I'm going to need to be way ahead, way better than the normal 22%. If I show you this slide tomorrow, I say half of you will remember the numbers, right? But you don't really need to just go through the reasoning. If you drop, what will the match score be? If you take, does that finish the match? And work it out. That's the exercise that you need to do. Now, going back to Alan's question, I think this is a very good question. Alan is white and he's playing Sean Casey. So if he takes, he's going to win the match 38% of the time. That's, Sean and Alan have no difference in skill at all in bearing off, right? So Alan will definitely win 38% if he takes. If he drops trailing 2-3 to 5 against an equal player, he'd have a 40% chance of winning. Against Sean Casey, yeah, I think it's probably a little bit lower than 38%. Alan, it's not much lower than 38%, but it's a bit lower. So I think you'd be right against a clearly stronger player. You probably should be happy to go for races. By and large, that's a general principle. If, for example, you've got a play that allows you race versus one that gets you into a sort of a hitting game against a stronger player, try and simplify, try and go for the races. The stronger player has almost no advantage in a race, but has a big advantage in a complicated game. This is a pure race here, so your opponent has no advantage. And if you're playing a weaker player, I think, was it you said, Cracker, that if you were playing a weaker player, you'd drop this?
I'd drop it and try to outplay him at 2-3.
Yeah, it's the correct play anyway. It's correct to drop it at 40%.
But against a very strong player, if I was playing Mochi, I'd be very tempted to take. I probably would take it because I'm going to win 38% of the time.
Yeah. So you say that Sean Casey is to Alan as Mochi is to you. I hope this is still being recorded.
Where if I was playing Shay Mulhall, what percentage would that be? Because I'm about to play Shay in about 4 minutes' time. So.
Oh, great! Well,
good.
If it's I would not be making. Look, that adjustment that you make should only really be between a very strong player and a very weak player. I think if I'm playing Cracker here, I'm not making any adjustment. I don't know whether Cracker I think Cracker might adjust for Machi and he might adjust for I think you adjusted when you were playing Mo that time in Bel. Was it Mo you made the adjustments for? But I wouldn't make an. Would you make an adjustment against me, Cracker?
I'm going to. What's that amendment that you can plead? I'm afraid of putting my foot in it
Take
again.
the fifth.
I'll plead the fifth. And I mean, you've been a wonderful host. So
Well done, Brendan.
You're a wonderful host. And it's great to raise all these points. And I don't want to say anything that might prevent me spending in the future.
Okay, guys, that's the end of it. I think the main thing is to get you to thinking about match score versus the chances of winning the game, the chance of winning the match versus the chance of winning the game. And there are some peculiarities. If you're analyzing your position with XG and you get a real surprise, God, that's a big blunder, I didn't realize it. I certainly find that a lot of my blunders have been as a result of not appreciating the quirks of the match score, or over appreciating them. For example, dropping when I was way ahead in the race, when I was way ahead in the match score when there was no need to. So there you are.
Brendan, am I allowed to say two things?
Yes,
I want to thank you and Sean and Jamie and the Federation for organising these Zoom meetings. I hope they will occur again in the future. Another point I want to make is today is the very last day of the meteorological summer. And I've another point, and I hope I won't embarrass you, Brendan. A very good friend of mine saw you on national television last night and was very impressed.
Oh, thank you, Cracker.
You were commenting about some financial issue.
You watching Crime Call again?
No.
I'd like to jump in again, Joe McGinley here, just to say that apart over and above the value to me of what I've learned from these sessions, it's a very enjoyable way to learn, and over and above what I've learned from the sessions, it's also motivated me to take an interest and do some study on outside of these sessions. So the value of the sessions that you've done, Brendan, and that the Federation has organised, I don't know, there's something additive there. There's something over and above just what your the work that you've put in, which has been great and has been really enjoyable. So anyway, thanks, I suppose.
And Joe, it's great
really
to
valuable.
see Galway. It's great to see Galway playing. We had great times in Galway playing backgammon when Jack Darien was there in particular. Some years ago, we used to go over regularly and play. And we'd love to go back to Galway if we're allowed travel in the near future.
Yeah.
So there you are. Okay, folks.
Good. Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you very much indeed.
See you again sometime.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.